Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Now, if you're anything like me, you have probably been hearing about AI and ChatGPT, and it's just this endless news cycle. It's all anyone can talk about. And yep, me too, right? This has been going on for not even a year yet, and yet it is just in the air everywhere. And so I thought, you know what? I should probably talk a little bit about how I am using tools like this, how I am using AI, because I think I'm using it in a way that is quite different, or rather with very different goals than a lot of people. I don't know what you've heard, but when I hear people talking about AI and ChatGPT and all of these things, I often hear people talking about how they want to use these tools to be even more productive, to be able to get more done, et cetera. And yes, that is helpful, but with what goal in mind, right? Because my goal is not simply to do more work, right? There will always be more work to do. And my goal is not to be able to shove more work into my day. I'm using AI tools in a way that allows me to actually have more time in my day, more time for myself. And so if this is something that you haven't really delved into yet, or if you have, but you've been using it really just to try to get more done, right? To squeeze more work into every day, I want to encourage you to think about it a little differently. How could tools like ChatGPT and other AI tools that can save us time, how can you actually use that time for something that you actually enjoy, right? Not just for doing more work. So I wanted to share with you just 6 ways of the many ways that I've been using tools like this that can save you time. And I'm going to then encourage you, if you use these tools, to take back that time, right? Don't use that time to just shove in more work. Like imagine if you have an 8-hour day of work, and I know you're probably working more than that, but just imagine you have an 8-hour day of work. What if you could get it down to 6 hours and get the same amount done in that time? Then you could have 2 hours to do whatever you want, right? Read a book, go on a walk, do something you enjoy, take a nap, right? What could you do with that time? So I'm going to share with you just 6 ways that I have been using these tools to save me a ton of time so that I can do way more of what I want. And, one thing that I was thinking, I'm like, how have I been using this time? And recently I joined a ceramics studio and I realized that, what? I have been spending a good 7 or 8 hours there every week. This is not something I think I would have had time for or felt like I had time for a year ago, right? Or even really 6 months ago. But I've been able to integrate this into my schedule, doing something I really enjoy, learning a new skill, without a lot of trouble. I actually didn't really think about it. I was like, wow, I was at the studio a lot over the past couple of weeks, and it hasn't been interfering with anything. I've been getting just as much done as I always have, and yet I've had so much time for the other things that I enjoy. So without further ado, one of the things that I love using ChatGPT for is for research, right? Like I could do my own research on Google, but I usually when I do research, right, I'm like, I Google something and then I look at 10 different tabs and then I try to cross-reference between these things. But what I love doing is having ChatGPT create a table for me. So I might say something like, I am looking for soccer for kids, all within a couple of miles of my house. I would like you to give me a table of what are all the options, how much do they cost, how far are they from a specific address, like from my house, what is the link that I would need to go to sign up, et cetera, like whatever information that you want. And it'll just spit back a table to you in 10 seconds of all of this information. So you don't have to spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour calling these places, looking on their websites, et cetera. It's just all for you in one place. And that's just one way of using this research capability. So when you need information, especially when you I love spreadsheets, right? When you put it in a table, you can use ChatGPT for that. You can also use it for things like meal planning, right? You can just pop in there, what are the things that you have in your fridge or your freezer or your cabinets? What are the dietary restrictions of your family? How many people are in your family? And it will give you a meal plan complete with recipes for the specific restrictions that you have, as well as what you have on hand. Right? That is pretty incredible. Now, of course, you can also use, there's so many AI meal planning tools, right? But you could also just use ChatGPT for that. It works well. You can use it to plan vacations, right? I think a lot of times we put off planning vacations because it just seems like so much work, right? But there are plenty of tools out there that you can use to plan your trips. There's one I like in particular. It's called forgemytrip.com. And you just plug in where you're going, what you like to do, when you're going to get there, all this stuff, and it will pop back an itinerary. Do you have to use it exactly as is? No. But is it going to get you started? Yes, it will. And it might be very, very good. You might say, yes, I actually do want to do this exactly like this is. All right, now I have been talking all about personal ways that we can use this for saving time. But what about work, right? I bet that's what you're thinking of. So there are a few ways that I use this all the time, and it is super helpful. One of these ways is to write faster emails. How much time do you spend agonizing over the right words? Or, maybe there's a mental block or an emotional block to writing this email. ChatGPT can help. It's not going to be perfect, but it will get you 80% of the way there in 2 seconds. And then it's so much easier to edit from what's there than it is to start from a blank page, right? We have all had that issue where we're looking at a blank page and we're like, ooh, I don't know what to do. This will get you started. And that is incredibly important. Now, what if you have tasks or projects that you've been procrastinating because you're just not sure what to do next? What are the next steps? This is something you can pump into ChatGPT. And there are other tools. There's one called Magic To Do that I really like as well, that's free, where you can say, this is the thing I need to do. Please give me a set of next steps. It'll break it down for you so that you don't have to do that thinking work. Again, will it be perfect? No. But will it get you pretty far really fast? Yes, it will. And the other thing that you can use it for is summarizing and explaining. And so let's say that you need to do a bunch of research about a topic, or you just want to understand something better. You can ask it to summarize a bunch of text for you. You can say, hey, explain this to me like I am a 10-year-old. You can ask it to really take vast amounts of information and cull it down to just what you need in the moment to get you to the next level of understanding. So I wanted to share with you these 6 different ways. I mean, there are so many more. I could talk all day about this, but I think these are ways that we actually use in our everyday lives and our everyday work. And if you start using some of these tools, you will start saving time. And what I want you to do with that time, or what I hope you want to do for yourself with that time, is to actually use it for good, right? To use it for something that you want to enjoy instead of just doing more work, right? Because there will always be more work today to do, right? I mean, there will always be more work today and there will always be more work to do, right? You and I, everyone, we could all work every single day till midnight for the rest of our lives. There would still be more work to do. But what do we want to do? I mean, I don't know about you, but I like spending a lot of time on things that are enjoyable to me. I like reading, I like cooking, I like doing pottery, I like knitting, I like crocheting, I like spending time with my family and playing board games. And all of these things, I can do more of them when I'm using AI tools to help me get my work done faster. So let me know, what have you been using AI for? What are some of your top tips? Let me know in the comments because I want to learn from you too.